I met Daniel at a bookstore. He was the kind of person who made you feel like you were the only one in the room. There was no dramatic start, just a soft unfolding of moments, casual conversations, coffee dates, late-night calls that stretched until sunrise. He listened, really listened, and in a world where everyone just waited to speak, that felt like love. He wasn't just charming, he was consistent. That's what hooked me. The good morning texts, the thoughtful gestures, remembering things I said in passing. When I mentioned once that my favorite flower was a white lily, he brought a bunch the next week without saying a word. Just smiled. We built routines, Friday movie nights, lazy Sunday breakfasts, long drives without destinations. It was simple, honest. At least, it felt that way. I fell fast, but not blindly. I watched how he treated others, how he talked about his mother, how he was with strangers. It all added up. There were no red flags, no gut feelings telling me to be careful. Just this quiet sense of safety. I opened up to him in a way I hadn't done with anyone before. Childhood trauma, insecurities, dreams I hadn't said out loud to anyone. And he held all of it with this gentle strength. I thought, this is what love should feel like. When he proposed the idea of moving in together, I didn't hesitate. It felt right. Our place wasn't much, one-bedroom apartment, peeling paint on the walls, but it felt like home. We'd cook dinner together, dance in the kitchen, fall asleep tangled in each other. We talked about marriage like it was a natural next step. He once told me he wanted to grow old with me, that I was the calm he didn't know he needed. People would comment on how lucky I was. He's a keeper, they'd say, and I'd smile, thinking, yes, I know. I never questioned his intentions. Never snooped through his phone. Never worried when he said he was working late. He'd earned my trust in full, and I gave it completely without conditions. We talked about everything, or so I believed. Plans to travel, to buy a dog, to maybe one day have kids. He was always supportive of my career, always cheering me on. I thought we were building something real, something unshakable. I thought we were different. Looking back, maybe I was too busy being in love to notice the small silences that started creeping in. The way he sometimes pulled away from kisses a little too soon. How he stopped reaching for my hand first. But I brushed it off. Everyone settles into comfort, right? So I stayed in the dream. Believed in it. Believed in him. I told myself love was enough. Until it wasn't. It started with the small things. Him taking longer to reply to my messages, coming home later than usual, saying he had meetings that ran over. At first, I didn't think much of it. Work was stressful, and he'd always been ambitious. But then, he stopped sharing the details. No stories from his day. Just tired eyes and one-word answers. He started guarding his phone, turning the screen away when I was nearby, leaving the room to take calls. The password changed, and when I asked why, he brushed it off, said it was a work thing. But something in his voice felt off. Too defensive for such a small question. There was a night he came home with a different cologne. Not the one he always wore. I asked about it and he shrugged, said he tried a new one at the mall. It didn't make sense, he hated shopping. And the scent? It was floral, almost feminine. That night, he didn't reach for me in bed. Just lay there, silent, distant, like a stranger. I tried to ignore the feeling growing in my chest. That cold, sinking kind of dread. I convinced myself I was overthinking. That maybe I was just tired, too. But I kept noticing things. A lipstick mark on the inside of his shirt collar. A forgotten hotel receipt tucked into his coat pocket. 2 guests one night, downtown. When I asked him, he smiled and said it was for a colleague who needed help booking a room. He said I was being paranoid. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe in us. So I swallowed my doubts and apologized, even though I was the one with questions. I started blaming myself. Maybe I hadn't been present enough. Maybe I'd been too focused on work. Maybe he was drifting because I wasn't enough. I tried harder, cooked his favorite meals, left him notes, booked a weekend getaway to reconnect. He said he had to cancel, something came up at work again. Always work. I told myself it was just a rough patch. Every couple goes through them. But in the silence between us, I felt myself fading. I confided in my best friend. She looked at me with that face that says what you already know but aren't ready to admit. She told me to trust my instincts. I didn't want to. I still wanted to believe in the man who used to hold my hand like it meant everything. One night, I walked past him in the living room, and I saw it. The way his face lit up while texting. A smile I hadn't seen in weeks. I asked who it was. He said, just a friend. Then, he turned the screen off. That was the moment something inside me cracked. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't overthinking. He was slipping away, piece by piece. And I was the only one fighting to hold us together. But I couldn't fight what I didn't know. Not yet. I found the messages by accident. His laptop was open, and the screen didn't lock. I wasn't snooping.
I was just passing by.
But curiosity got the better of me, and I clicked the chat window. Her name was Alyssa. The last message read, "Last night was perfect. I wish I could wake up next to you, every morning." I scrolled up. Weeks of messages. Photos.
Jokes.
Inside references. He called her baby. Told her he missed her. He sent her pictures from our apartment. Angles that didn't show me, but I recognized the couch, the coffee table, the wine glasses we used on date nights. He had brought her into our space. Invited her into the life we built together, behind my back. There was no denying it. No gray area. This wasn't emotional confusion or drunken mistakes. This was deliberate, ongoing, intimate. I felt like the air had been knocked out of me. My hands were shaking. My heart pounded so hard it drowned out every sound in the room. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to tear the laptop in half. But I didn't. I just sat there, numb. I didn't cry right away. Shock kept the tears frozen. I just kept scrolling, reading every line, every emoji, every digital piece of evidence that the man I loved had been living a double life. She wasn't a stranger. She worked with him. They had business trips together. All those nights he said he was exhausted from meetings, he was with her. I confronted him that night. Calm at first. I said her name, watched his face drop. He didn't deny it. Didn't even try. He just looked away and said, "I didn't want you to find out like this." Like there was ever a good way. When I asked him why, his answer was as empty as I feared. "I don't know. I didn't plan it. It just happened." I stared at him, wondering how someone could tear your heart out and still speak so softly. He said things like, "I still love you." It didn't mean anything, and I was confused. But love doesn't lie for months. Love doesn't say "I miss you" to another woman while holding your hand in bed. I asked if he loved her. He hesitated. That pause told me everything I needed to know. You don't pause when the answer is no. He said he didn't want to lose me, that he'd fix it, that we could get through this. But there was no we anymore. He broke at the moment he chose someone else and kept choosing her again and again. I looked at the man standing in front of me, and I couldn't recognize him. Not the one who kissed my forehead every morning. Not the one who once said I was his forever. He had betrayed me in silence. Smiled in my face while building another life behind my back. And in that moment, I realized love alone isn't enough, not when trust is already dead. I packed my things in silence. No dramatic fight, no screaming match. Just a slow, painful acceptance that everything I believed in wasn't real anymore. He watched me, tried to speak, but I didn't want words. Words had been his weapon, soft lies wrapped in affection. I was done listening, done hoping, done waiting for an apology that wouldn't undo the damage. The first night alone felt like drowning. Not because I missed him, but because I didn't know who I was without us. My identity had been so tied to him, to our routine, to our future. I kept replaying everything in my head, every moment that now felt fake. Every kiss, every "I love you," every plan we made, tainted. I stopped eating for a few days. I didn't answer calls. I let messages pile up. People were asking questions, but I didn't have answers. All I had were memories I no longer trusted, and questions that wouldn't stop. How long had he been lying? What did she have that I didn't? Was any of it ever real? I tortured myself with possibilities, replayed conversations, dissected looks and words, searching for signs I missed. Eventually, the pain turned into anger. Not just at him, but at myself. For ignoring the signs. For convincing myself that love meant loyalty. For trusting too easily. I realized I had been so desperate to hold on to what we had that I kept myself blind. I confused consistency with commitment. I mistook routine for love. I started going on walks, listening to music again, writing in my journal, talking to friends not about him but about anything else. I needed to remember who I was before him, the version of me that existed without needing someone to validate her worth. One afternoon he called. I let it ring. Then another message followed. I miss you.
Can we talk?
I stared at the screen, and for a split second I felt that old pull, that reflex to run back, to fix things. But I didn't, because the person he missed wasn't coming back. She no longer existed. I didn't respond. Not because I wanted to hurt him, but because I finally chose myself. He made a choice, over and over, to lie, to betray, to disrespect. And now it was my turn to make one. I chose distance. I chose silence. I chose peace. Healing didn't come all at once. Some nights still hurt. Some mornings felt hollow. But slowly I started to rebuild. Not a version of me shaped by love, but one shaped by truth, by resilience, by self-respect. People ask if I'd take him back. The answer is no. Not because I don't feel anything for him, but because I finally feel something stronger for myself. I deserved more. And now I know that. I still wonder sometimes, why did he do this to me? But now the better question is, why did I let someone who couldn't love me right stay in my life for so long? And that answer changed everything.